Does anyone have a question?
Stuart,
Yes.
I was faced with a very challenging situation recently with a a a business partner, excuse me. So, should I immediately go to what is there to teach me, what is there to learn? Because usually it might escalate, but if I can kind of defray that frustration and just go immediately, what am I supposed to learn? What is this situation teaching me?
Larry, whatever happens in that situation, you're going to have to learn something. I mean, I've had business partners in my life, and they're not easy, not easy to deal with. There were always problems and tensions and crazy things that used to go on. And they taught me. They taught me about myself. They taught me about not, you know, focusing on greed. They taught me about, not having to outdo other people and to certainly allow the business to just kind of flow and happen. And functioning that way, it produced a lot of money and a lot of success we had in that business. And but it was also, I had to learn from this other person about me, not about them, because can't fix everybody. But I knew that I attracted a person like this in my life because something in me had to grow, something in me had to change. And I'll always be grateful to him. I really will be. And although I must say, it was not easy dealing with this person every day, but it worked. And I grew and I learned patience with other people's indiscretions and the craziness in other people. And I learned how to use all of that to grow inside myself. I mean, I can tell you a story. Like, I when I was in that business years ago, one of the dealers in the business, I won't mention names, came up to me and said, you're about the only sane person that I've ever met in this business. And I would like you to look out for my son, who was also kind of in the business, if you could. So I said, I don't know what I can do, but I certainly, if he's interested, he can come to me. I'll talk to him about anything. And I can show him things that I've learned in my life that can help him. Well, one day the son showed up and we're sitting and having a conversation in my loft. And he shows me a picture and he says, "Do you own this sculpture?" And I looked at it and I said, "Yes." And I won't get into how I owned it or how I got it, but it's a very complicated story. But I said, "Yes." Well, it turned out that this son was an agent for somebody in India. Please, Kerry, don't drink now, okay? Wait 5 minutes, okay? Was an agent for somebody in India, went back and told them that I own that statue. And honestly, that person in India wound up costing me, and I had a few partners involved in this deal, somewhere in $1.5 million. And this is this guy whose mother asked me to watch out and take care of him and make sure he doesn't become like these people that she knew that she had to deal with all the time in that business. And it cost me like, it didn't cost me that, but I would have sold the stuff that was coming to me for probably 1.5 million. I had one statue sold for $500,000. That I had a client who said, when that comes here, I said, it's sold. I'll write you a check. Now, frankly, when all of this happened, I'll never forget, I got a phone call telling me that this whole deal fell through. I had to teach a meditation class 5 minutes later. And I had to sit down and use that incredibly difficult situation to grow spiritually, because I knew the only place I could get the energy to go above it and deal with it was from God. It was from a higher source in the universe. And I'll never forget when I came out of that, I said, Stuart, you really must be growing in your life. You haven't felt an ounce of pain or upset, nothing. And it all worked out. I mean, it was all for the better anyway. Ultimately, I'll tell you, frankly, it was all for the best that what happened. And I'm just saying that these things teach you, not about them. I can't change those crazy people, but what I need to learn to grow. And that's one of the main reasons I stayed in business. I never liked business. I didn't like being in business. I never wanted to do it. But Rudy made me go into business, gave me an ashram to run. And I had to get money, there were 12, 20 people living in this house, and we had to get money. I had to learn how to make money. It was an ashram, a meditation center that forced me to learn how to be in business. So, and the only way I could learn it was I had to go to a higher source of energy. I had to go to God, because I didn't like business. I didn't like doing any of that stuff, and how to do it honestly, without ripping off other people. Understand? So this person, whoever it is, they're there to teach you about you. And if you find yourself getting upset at them, you're not getting upset at them, you're getting upset at yourself, because what they did touches weakness inside of you. Understand? It's telling you that you have to get stronger. And business is wonderful for that, because there's so much greed. Look what the shit with this Trump and all this crap with, tariffs. These people are insane, they're insane. And they eat each other alive. They're like cannibals. So what are you going to do? We all have to make money somehow, And we have to deal with people like that. We need to learn. And if we get upset at them, don't get upset at them. Why am I allowing them to touch something that gets me upset inside myself? How can I grow to where I can deal with this bullshit without allowing it to rip me apart? Look, I was in business for a long time, and I really used it that way. Everybody, the art business, all these sophisticated people dealing in, museum quality art, but they're all a bunch of gangsters. I really mean it. A bunch of gangsters. And when I first walked into the middle of it, I said, holy shit, this is unbelievable. And I said, what can I do? How can I grow? How can I not allow this to eat me alive? I found out with spiritual teachers. The jealousy, the crap that used to go on. Rudy, after Rudy died, what went on was insane. I always wondered why he sent me to live in Texas. And after he died, I found out. It gave me enough distance to be away from the madness that I was capable of growing and developing inside myself. And that madness really hurt, because Rudy saved my life. And then I saw this bullshit going on, that it was just horrible. And I said to myself, Stuart, you have to get above it. You have to grow above it. These people are teaching you not about them. They're teaching you about yourself, and you have to grow. And the only place I could go to get the energy to grow was from God, from higher energy. That was the only place I could go. And I remember Rudy telling me the best way out of town is always up. And it's true. It's really true. You got to go up. You got to go to a higher to get the energy that gives you the capacity to use all of this bullshit that goes on in life so that you become more human. So use your partner that way. Whoever this person is, use them that way. And don't have expectations about what people are supposed to do because they're always going to disappoint you. Rudy also told me you never serve people, you serve God. People will change by the minute. You never know what's going to come in 10 minutes. God, constant source of nourishment and energy, that will help you to grow and deal with anything you have to deal with in your life.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. No, it was an incredible education for me, being not so much money and all that, but learning about me and learning about what I had to do to grow and how I can't allow other people's insanity to affect my inner life. And if it does, it's not their fault. They're being sent here by God to teach me something about me. Strong enough to deal with it and not allow it to get me into some depressed state and angry and revenge and stuff that does nothing but create wars. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, what I just told you is a true story. I don't read about these things in books. I draw from my life. It's a difference between Rudy's work and a lot of work. It's not about reading the Bible or reading the Bhagavad Gita. It's life that teaches us what we need to learn. And we have to be able to use that knowledge in a clear and conscious way. Does anyone else have a question? It was never the other person. It's oneself. It's oneself. Why are they bothering me? You've attracted them into your life to teach you that you need to grow in certain areas of your life so you're not being bothered by them. It's a very incredible way to look at life. It really is. Does anyone else have a question? Does anyone else have a question? And I honestly think that's a wonderful thing about Rudy's meditation practice, because the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, it's life. And it teaches you all the time how to get closer to God. And part of the process is building the inner strength to where you can listen to life. It's the greatest book ever written. Life. And we have to understand that it sends us endless experiences. For what reason? To teach us how to get closer to God, to grow inside ourselves. And then we never can blame anybody. Understand? It's nobody's fault. It's what we do with it and how we learn to grow because of what we experience. Does anyone else have a question? You'd like to ask? Great question, Larry. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all. Bless you all. There'll be meditation on, what's today, Monday, Wednesday. I don't even know the days anymore. You know, today's Monday, Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. God bless you all. As I say to you after every class, you know, I have such gratitude and humility for the presence of every one of you, you know, in my life, in these classes. I mean, you know, I don't sit around and talk like this. Ask Jennifer. I don't talk like this all day. And this class brings out things for me that I have to learn also. It's extraordinary. And it's extraordinary to learn that the real book that's written is life. And it's there to teach us everything we have to know to become spiritually enlightened. So God bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday.
Thank you,
Thank,
Stuart.
thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Beautiful.